Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and today's video we're doing a live stream where we're going to be discussing transfer news, rumours and more, and I want you guys to get involved in the live chat. Now, before I get into this video, we are kind of new to live streams here to Alice Talks Football, so I'm sorry if the microphone quality isn't great, I'm sorry if there's some background noise picked up, I'm sorry if the background's annoying, I'm sorry if I stumble my words. I'm quite new to going live on this channel, and my first live I did, I forgot to turn the chat on basically, but we're going to be discussing transfer news in this video, and my hair is all over my face already. But in today's video, I want to just talk about some transfer news and stories that's come out, and I thought it'd be really interesting to do it live because I think with transfer news in Manchester United, a lot of it's opinionated. Is this reliable? Is it not reliable? Is this a good option for Manchester United? If we get this player, does this mean this player's leaving? And so on and so on. And I just thought, you guys can get involved in the live chat if you enjoyed this video. So make sure to put some comments in the chat below and I will read them out. Can you say my name? Stephen. Hello. Hello, everyone. It's good that everyone can comment now. But yeah, we're going to be talking about a few stories in this video. So we're going to be talking about Declan Rice. Jesse Lingard's good form. Could we use Jesse Lingard to lower the price of Declan Rice? We know Declan Rice is a player that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants. We're going to be talking about Erling Haaland. Obviously, Erling Haaland has been linked to Manchester United a lot, and we're also going to be talking about Jadon Sancho. Is the Jadon Sancho deal off? And story that came out from The Athletic saying that Manchester United's priority is a centre-back and a striker. Would that mean Martial is leaving? Does that mean Sancho is what we're not getting? So yeah, let me get straight into the story and actually read out what was said. And my hair literally loves to go on my face when I'm going live. So I took a screenshot of some of the stuff that was said, and The Athletic came out and said that United will focus on targets of a centre-back and striker role rather than a right winger. And The Athletic, David Ornstein, they're all reliable journalists, all reliable sources, not Fabrizio Romano level, but when they say something, you shouldn't really disregard it. And they've said that Manchester United's priorities is a centre-back, which we know, and a striker, no longer a right winger, meaning that the Sancho deal could potentially be off. We all thought there was a chance we get Sancho this summer. His price was going to be lowered to £80 million. But if our priority is a centre-back, and let's say Jules Kounde is going to cost us, 60-70 million pounds, whereas Jadon Sancho again is going to be 60-70 million pounds, and Manchester United like to have a net spend of 60-70 million pounds, and they're basically telling us that Manchester United are not going to do two large deals. Rice and Ndidi are two names people constantly put out there as CDMs. Yeah, I think Ndidi would be amazing at Manchester United, but I don't know if we get him. But basically, The Athletic and David Ornstein have basically sort of come out and said that Sancho might not happen. United basically don't have the funds for Sancho. They think with Amad Diallo and Mason Greenwood, a right wing isn't a priority position at the club anymore. And I do think we need Sancho, but I do think with a centre-back being needed more than any other position, we know that we need a quick centre-back next to Maguire. If we say pay 60 million for a first-choice centre-back, which I believe is Jules Kounde, is Manchester United going to spend 80 million on Jadon Sancho? And to be fair, I can't see that happening because we don't spend a lot of money. Unless we sell Paul Pogba and we get a lot of money for Paul Pogba, I cannot see that happening. Matthew Adito says, United need a centre-back and a right wing to challenge for the Premier League. I hope you agree with me. I do agree with you. I think we need a centre-back, a right wing, and I also think we need a CDM because Matic is ageing, and I think McTominay's better in the box-to-box role. We're talking of CDMs. Actually, no, first we'll talk about the Haaland news. So basically, they said that Manchester United are prioritising a centre-back and a striker in the transfer window over a right winger. Now, what strikers has Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted for a while? That would be Erling Haaland. We know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a big fan of Erling Haaland. We know that he's wanted Erling Haaland for a while. We obviously didn't get him because Woodward failed to deliver him. And we know that Erling Haaland is for sale. Now, do I think we'll get Erling Haaland in the summer? I don't. I think he's more likely to go to Chelsea or City because they have the funds. I think he's more of a priority to them. But with Cavani maybe extending his deal for a year, Erling Haaland's a player that I think would come next summer. Dennis Zakaria, again, is a good shout in the chat. I think Dennis Zakaria is a good CDM that Manchester United should definitely start looking at, as well as Ndidi and Declan Rice and stuff. But basically, I'm going to read out. There was a thing that the Manchester Evening News reported on, and it was actually from the Star. So, it's from the Star, so it's probably crap. But they said Erling Haaland would demand £300,000 a week in wages if he was to leave Borussia Dortmund this summer, according to reports. Haaland is reportedly on the radar of Manchester United as well as Real Madrid, Chelsea and Manchester City, and his agent Mino Raiola has told potential suitors that the client wants £300,000 a week. The Star reported that Raiola is demanding a 5-year deal worth 78 million for his client, with the transfer fee expected to be 100 million, given Haaland has a 68 million pound release clause that only comes active in summer 2022. So again, talking of Haaland, we won't get Erling Haaland this summer. Although Martial might leave and we want a striker, I'd be very surprised if we got Haaland this summer, because Dortmund have the right to demand 100 million pounds for him, whereas next summer his release clause of 68 million pounds comes into place. And I think if we were going to go for him, it'd be next year. You also got to think that Jadon Sancho was almost certain to leave Borussia Dortmund this summer, and Dortmund are not going to sell Sancho and Haaland in the same summer. Now, we are front runners to win Sancho. We are favourites to win Sancho. But I only think we will get Jadon Sancho if we sell Paul Pogba. I think our first 50-60 million is going to go on a centre-back. Ideally, Jules Kounde, could be Konate, could even be Tyrone Mings. And I think if we get 60 million for Pogba, then maybe we will go for Sancho. So The Athletic is a reliable source, and they say it's centre-back and a striker. But in terms of a striker, maybe we go for like Plea or something. I know Haaland's the striker everyone wants, but I doubt he would come in the summer. But talking of strikers, this could indicate maybe Martial is leaving Manchester United. We know something's not right with Martial. He doesn't look happy when he played. Even when he got 2 goals versus Southampton, I thought, oh, Martial's a bit sad. Like, he didn't look happy. And the fact that Cavani's injured and Martial's getting subbed off, and that Dan James is playing over Martial, shows that maybe, does Ole rate Martial anymore? Is there a place for Martial on the team? Is it his work rate? Is it something in training? Is he not happy? You know, we saw this with Lingard, and obviously now Lingard's gone and he's doing really well at West Ham, and we will talk about Lingard. But is Martial done at Manchester United? And that is the question. Is we now focusing a striker into the right winger because Martial's done and Cavani's not fit enough to play striker the whole way throughout the season, and Mason Greenwood's not quite ready to be a striker yet? Let me know in the comment section down below. Who would you like to see at striker if we did sell Martial and we couldn't get like Haaland in? I heard news about selling De Gea. Can we clarify if that's true? I've not heard anything about selling De Gea. I mean, we have Dean Henderson, but I think, you know, Ole rates De Gea. I don't think De Gea is the problem at Manchester United myself. I think De Gea will probably stay for a few years. I think it'd be more likely Henderson to go, as we see that Ole just favoured David over Henderson. Pogba for CR7 swap. I mean, that would be good, but I can't see that happening. I'd like Pogba for CR7, and I doubt Lukaku would come back. But basically what came out from The Athletic and David Ornstein was that Sancho might not happen because maybe we don't have the funds for it. And now when I look at the situation Manchester United, and I think we will spend most of our money on a centre-back. And we know that in previous transfer windows, we have a net spend of £60 million, and we're not going to have 2 big signings. Jules Kounde and Jadon Sancho's 2 big signings that Manchester United aren't capable of doing unless Pogba leaves, unless Martial leaves. But I still don't know who the striker we'd be looking to sign in the summer is, because I don't think we would spend 100 million on Haaland when he's 68 million. Rich Sports says Martial and Fred could bring in some cash. Martial, I think, could bring in 30 million. I don't think we'll sell Fred. I don't think he's been great the last few games, but I think the midfield is too thin to sell Fred. I think if Pogba leaves, we wouldn't sell Fred. Considering we sold Herrera, Fellaini, didn't replace them, we are quite thin on midfield numbers, and we're sitting at now with Matic and Fred behind Bruno being our only fit players. Now, talking of midfielders, we're going to talk about Declan Rice. Now, Declan Rice is a young English CDM that plays for West Ham. I'm pretty sure you all know who Declan Rice is, and we know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has rated Declan Rice for a while. I didn't rate him at first, but the more I watch him play, the older he gets, the better I think Declan Rice is. And again, Manchester United, we need a CDM. We all know we need a CDM. Ndidi, Sakaria, Sumer, Declan Rice, whoever it is, we need a CDM. Now, with Matic ageing, and we know that Fred can't really do the CDM job on his own, and we know McTominay's better as a box-to-box, even though Manchester United haven't been strongly linked to getting a CDM, and they say our priority is a centre-back and a striker, then a centre-back and a right winger, I think our 2 number 1 priorities are centre-back and CDM. Now, I knew that if we were going to spend 50-60 million on a centre-back, the only type of CDM we're going to get in is realistically going to be under £20 million. And Declan Rice is a £60-70 million player. Now, people are talking about Jesse Lingard, Declan Rice swap deal. Now, I don't think we'll get straight swap for Jesse Lingard and Declan Rice. I think that'd be the deal of the century. But if Lingard carries up his form in the way he's playing at West Ham, he'd want to go to West Ham, and West Ham would want him. Like, he's been really good for West Ham. And people are talking about, do we swap Lingard for Rice? Now, I think that Rice would be a good option for Manchester United, in my opinion. I do think Ndidi's better. I do think there's better options than Rice. And I do think he would be overpriced compared to Bundesliga gems like Zakaria. But then have you seen Bundesliga players like Havertz, Werner. Like, they haven't really hit the Premier League. But basically, what I think with Declan Rice is I think Manchester United wants him. Manchester United are interested. We need a CDM. Matic is likely to go. We don't have an out-and-out CDM at the club. It should be a priority. And I think we're going to spend probably big on a centre-back, hopefully. But I think after that, we have to look at CDM. And I think if you have Jesse Lingard, he could knock 20, 30 million off the price of Declan Rice. It could be Jesse Lingard and £30 million for Declan Rice. And we know that Jesse Lingard is now deadwood at Manchester United. Even if he's playing well at West Ham, which he is, I think he's done at Manchester United. There's not room for him. And I think Manchester United are in a position where they could get a centre-back and then spend 30 million on Declan Rice with Jesse Lingard. I think it would be Jesse Lingard on 30 million rather than maybe the 60, 70 million that West Ham want up front. And I think that's something Manchester United can do. But the problem with Manchester United is the board, the Glazers, Woodward, we're not efficient in the transfer market. Like, we're aware that we want Kounde, we wanted Upamecano, we wanted Jules Kounde, we want Varane, we want Ramos. We might not get our second or third choice centre-back because the board don't hurry up and do it. Chelsea are looking for a centre-back. Liverpool possibly looking for a centre-back. There's a lot of teams in the market right now looking for a centre-back. It looks like David Alaba's going to Real Madrid. It looks like, obviously, Upamecano's going to Bayern Munich, but Barcelona are in the market for a centre-back. Chelsea could hurry up and beat us to Jules Kounde, which means we waste half the summer trying to get a centre-back. And then we don't know who we're going to sign at centre-back. So the thing is with me, I think if we spend a lot of money on a centre-back, I don't think we'll get Sancho or a CDM. The only way I think we'd get Sancho is if we sold Pogba. But I think if we sold Pogba, maybe we'd look at Jack Grealish. I don't know what you think. Let me have a look at your live chat. He says Kounde is injury prone. I agree. I'm not the biggest fan of Kounde. I do think he's injury prone. And Ndidi is also injury prone. But Ndidi does seem to stay fit a lot more than Kounde. Tada Itzar says maybe David De Gea is fed up of trying to carry the defence on its own and affected his performance. If Maguire's fitness by centre-back placed in front of him, David De Gea might be back. I think David De Gea isn't a problem at Manchester United. I don't know what you think. The media seem to be going in on David De Gea at the moment. But I think David De Gea is just a victim of poor defending. He has a lot more to do. He's more likely to make mistakes. But when we just conceded 3 goals to Everton, maybe one of those David De Gea could save, but we conceded 3 because our centre-backs didn't do a good enough job. The stupid goals when we lost 2-1 to Istanbul was just stupid defending. How many goals have we conceded from stupid defending? I think, in my opinion, talking of David De Gea, if we played Dean Henderson in goal, would Manchester United have any more points in the Premier League? If Dean Henderson started every Premier League game, would Manchester United have any more points? And I don't think it would. Maybe if Eric Bailly started every Premier League game next to Harry Maguire, I could have gone, we wouldn't have conceded that early goal to West Brom. We might have not lost to Sheffield United. And I could think of maybe 6 to 9 points we could have picked up maybe if Eric Bailly was playing instead of Lindelof. But if Dean Henderson was playing instead of De Gea, I don't think that we would pick up that many more points, maybe less, because Dean Henderson's a good keeper and I rate him, but I don't think the problem is David De Gea, and I think the media needs to stop going on David De Gea. Grealish would be a good Pogba replacement. I do agree. I think this is what I think is going to happen in the summer. I think we're going to go for a centre-back, and it might be our second or third choice. I believe Jules Kounde is first, followed by Kounde, followed by Varane, but we'll probably end up with someone like Tyrone Mings, knowing the board and the Glazers. We'll go for a centre-back. I think we will try and bargain Lingard off of West Ham, and although our board is stupid and incapable, at times, they are a business club. And if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants Declan Rice, and I believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would want Declan Rice, I mean, I am a big fan of Sakari, I am a big fan of Ndidi, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must want a CDM. Surely he knows McTominay's not CDM. Surely he knows Fred can't do it on his own. Surely he knows Matic is basically done. I think if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants a CDM and he says he wants Rice, the board could do something to get Rice a bit cheaper. Like, we're not going to straight swap Lingard for Rice. There's no way Manchester United could straight swap Jesse Lingard for Declan Rice, but they definitely could knock someone off the price. So I think we'll go for a centre-back. We might look at Rice in the CDM, and I think the attacking option depends if Pogba goes. Yes, the Athletic, a generally reliable thing, says we'll go for a striker. If Martial sells, I'm sure we will get a striker or a winger and just push Greenwood to striker. Maybe. So I think if Martial sold or Pogba sold, we could go for Jadon Sancho. He can play on the right. You move Greenwood more centre. I get that. I don't think we'll be getting Erling Haaland. I think if we're going to get Erling Haaland, it would be next summer when his release clause comes into place. But teams like Chelsea, teams like Manchester City, Aguero's done, Jesus is done, they could go for Erling Haaland this summer. They do have the money for him. But I think it's going to be a centre-back this summer. I think it has to be a centre-back. And the thing with Manchester United is we are used to disappointing transfer windows. We're really used to it. Is it going to be a centre-back and a load of crap? You know, it could be a centre-back and we could be Tyrone Mings, and then they go, oh, do you want Brooks again from Bournemouth? That could be our transfer window. But Ole wasn't necessarily backed last window. The only thing is now we've got Amad Diallo, we've got Mason Greenwood. Dan James has found a bit of form. We're second in the league. If we finish second in the league, the board didn't back Mourinho after finishing second in the league. Will they back Ole into the summer? Now we hear all these transfer windows, and I'm thinking, okay, transfer rumours, sorry, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to probably get Sancho, we're probably going to get Kounde this summer, but are we going to get him? Are we going to lose Kounde to Chelsea? Are we going to end up with Tyrone Mings? You know, more clubs are going to be in for Sancho this summer. And then if we're so focusing on the centre-back, we don't have the money for Sancho, all of a sudden we don't get the centre-back we want, we have the money for Sancho, we lose Sancho. So I am a little bit worried about the transfer window myself. I don't know what you guys think, like who you guys want. But basically, I wanted to talk about sort of the transfer news about Rice, Haaland, and Sancho. And I didn't want to ramble on too much, but I wanted to do a live video for it because I obviously wanted to get you guys involved in the comments and see what you would say. A good centre-back and a quality CDM would make a big difference. And yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. I think Manchester United need a good centre-back. We need a quality CDM. Do you think selling Martial and playing Greenwood as a striker, using the cash we get, selling Martial to get Kounde and a decent CDM? Yeah, I think that's a good option for sure. I think I love Martial. I love Martial. I would love Martial to find form, but at the way it's going, it looks like Martial could be sold on someone. If we do sell Martial, we can use that money for a centre-back and CDM. The only problem is you sell Martial, Cavani's our only fit striker, who is 34, who is injury prone. So you move Greenwood to striker, but say Cavani's injured, you've got Rashford, Greenwood, Dan James to front three. There's no depth in attack. I think if you sell Martial, even if you don't get a striker, you have to look at Sancho because we don't know if Amad Diallo is ready yet. I love Amad Diallo. I hope he's a successful signing, but we don't know if he's ready yet. Is he ready to play? Like Greenwood is not at his best, but we know Greenwood can play all the games this season and put in a decent shift. Is Amad Diallo ready to play first team football in the Premier League? And you don't really know if they're properly ready to the 22. Like you can tell if they're ready maybe at 19, 20, if they can play games and they can handle it. But you never know if a player's going to be properly ready at 22. And I'm worried that with Amad Diallo and Mason Greenwood, they could use an excuse not to get a winger. But if Martial goes, we have to get a winger or a striker, in my opinion. Everton isn't going to sell Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I mean, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a good shout. I'd like him, Manchester United. I'm a big fan of him. He's good with his head. I think he would be a good Cavani replacement because him and Cavani are the headed goal kings. But again, you know, we paid Everton a lot for Lukaku. We'd have to pay them a lot for Calvert-Lewin. And if we're going to be spending money on the centre-backs, are we going to be spending big on Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Richarlison at United. I like Richarlison. I think Richarlison is a shout. But again, with Richarlison, he's not the kind of player that I'd want to spend 50 million on because I don't think he's a 50 million pound player. If he was there for a bargain of 20 million or Everton got relegated and they had to sell, I'll go for Richarlison, but he's not a player I'd want to spend big on. Lukaku won't work. Serie A and APL was not the same type of league. Yeah, Lukaku, I think, is always a good striker, but I don't think he suited the Manchester United system. And I do think, although Lukaku's having a much better season than Martial and is a better player than Martial, I do think at Manchester United and the way Ole played that Martial was better under Ole than Lukaku. Now, I thought Lukaku was always decent for Manchester United, but he didn't want to be there. Harry Kane. Harry Kane is a striker shout, but is Daniel Levy. We'd have to pay £200 million to get Harry Kane. But the moral of this video is, a reliable source say we're going for a centre-back and a striker. Now, I think we know who the centre-back options are, but we don't know who the striker options are. And the only one that stands out is Erling Haaland because he's the striker we've been linked to the most. But he's going to be 100 million if you want him this summer. But maybe next summer, 68 million. But then they say we're not getting Sancho. So I think, for me, Manchester United in the transfer window, I think it all depends on who we sell. Now, who can I see going out the door? I can see Jesse Lingard going out the door. Dalot could go, but I do think we need a backup right back for Wan-Bissaka. We need cover. If Wan-Bissaka gets injured, we've got Brandon Williams, and I like Brandon Williams, but a big dip. Dino could go. There is report about Dean Henderson possibly wanting to leave Manchester United. He's not happy with the lack of game time. I like Dean Henderson. I like De Gea. I don't care who plays in goal for me, but I understand, you know, they're both good enough to be playing first team football all the time. Pogba, I think, is going to leave, and if Pogba leaves, we've got to go for a Grealish or like a Sancho or just some kind of replacement. We've got to spend that Pogba money somewhere. Pogba Varane swap. Now Pogba wants Madrid. Varane might want to leave. I think Varane will stay at Madrid, but I'd be down for a Pogba Varane. So if we swap Paul Pogba for Varane, then all of a sudden use that cash by Sancho, because we have, swap Pogba for Varane, straight swap, and then we spend 70 million on Sancho. Then we go Lingard. You can go to West Ham. We get Rice. Sell Martial because he clearly wants to leave, and that will be some good business from Manchester United. But the thing is, we're not run like Chelsea. We're not run like Manchester City. If we were run like Chelsea, if we were run like Manchester City, I could sit here and be like, oh, so Ole wants Kounde, Ole wants Rice, Ole wants Sancho. We'll probably get 2 out of 3 of them. But because we're Manchester United, we could end up with Tyrone Ming, Brooks, Josh King, and maybe, I don't know, Basuma. Basuma's a good player, actually. I rate Basuma. I don't know what you guys think of Basuma. I take Basuma at Manchester United. The more I watch him, the more I want. But yeah, Grealish would be good if Pogba leaves. We know he's suited to the Premier League, low risk, and he turns up every game. The good thing about Jack Grealish, and this is what I'd like Jack Grealish, because I wasn't so sure about him last summer because he's only had 1 season in the Premier League, but he's really shown to the occasion, is his captain quality. He's got that captain mentality. And Bruno Fernandes improved Manchester United on the pitch, but I think his mentality also improved us as well. I think Scott McTominay and Bruno Fernandes have that mentality, and I think Grealish has it as well. But Pogba, in a few games, we saw against Liverpool, where we play McFred, but we play Pogba on the wing. And Jack Grealish is actually that winger that kind of tucks in. So when Pogba was playing left mid, that's where Jack Grealish plays for Aston Villa. The only thing is, Rashford, for me, is better on the left than the right. But if you sell Martial and say you get Grealish, you can put Grealish on the left, Rashford up top, Greenwood on the right, Sancho on the right. But I doubt we get Sancho and Grealish. But I think Grealish would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba. Even though Grealish can't play as deep as Pogba, he's another creative player. And when Pogba's out, because Pogba's injured now, we rely on Bruno for all our creativity. All our creativity goes through Bruno Fernandes. And that's why if we get a winger, we have to get a player like Sancho or Grealish that can create. Wingers like Mo Salah, wingers like Marcus Rashford, they're goal scorers. Wingers like Grealish and Sancho, they're creators. And the thing about Grealish is he can play in like a midfield role. I take Basuma too, commanding CDM. Yeah, I think Basuma's an out-of-the-box one that we don't hear about that much, but I think with Brighton, we could probably get him for about 30 million, which, because he's young and stuff, I think that's good. I think he's got indeed qualities. He seems to stay fit. I think Basuma's a B-Tech Fred. See, I've watched Basuma. I've only watched Basuma play a few times, so I can't be like too in on Basuma. But I rate Basuma. I think he offers a bit more defensively than Fred. I think the difference between Fred and Basuma is I think Basuma could hold on his own, whereas when Fred holds, he holds with McTominay. And I think, for me, my ideal midfield would be a holding CDM, Pogba, Bruno. Pogba box to box, holding CDM, Bruno, because we just create more. Grealish stepped up and playing for England. That's a good sign. Yeah, that is a good point there, Rich. Grealish massively stepped up for England. He can play on the left. He can add cover in the Bruno role. We've seen Donny play in the Bruno role, and we know that Donny, for me, it doesn't suit the Bruno role. I mean, he did have Fred and McTominay behind him in his staff, and he can do the Bruno role. But the best moments we've seen of Donny in a Manchester United shirt, and there's not been many, to be fair, because he's never on the pitch. But it's in that 6 role. You know, I think Donny would be a perfect 6. You know, I hope Donny's fit, because I'd like to see Fred, Donny, Bruno as a 3, or Matic, Donny, Bruno as a 3, and maybe Donny play the kind of Pogba role. Donny can fill the Pogba place. What would Van der Beek's future be if Grealish came? That's a good question. I think the thing with Grealish is he kind of plays on the left and much further forward than Van der Beek. Grealish is either going to be on the left, the right, or in the cam. Whereas for me, Donny Van der Beek is a box-to-box midfielder. He's a 6. He's an 8. I don't think he's a 10. So I don't think Grealish would affect Donny's future at all. I think if Grealish came, you got Grealish on the left, Bruno on the cam, and then you got Donny in the box-to-box role with McTominay. It could be McTominay, Donny, Bruno. You got Grealish, you got Rashford, you got Greenwood, or even Amad Diallo if he gets a good run in. Tell Abramovich to give us some money. I will. You know, I know Abramovich. I'll literally ring him up and be like, give us some money. And it's a shame, though, because with Man United, we're linked to so many players. I was so certain we were going to get Sancho in the summer, and we didn't. And Chelsea got Havertz, they got Ziyech, they got Werner, they got Thiago Silva, they got Mendy, because Abramovich got who Lampard wanted. And yes, they weren't all successful, but Chelsea, when they're linked to a player, can have some confidence, whereas we're quite strongly linked to a few players. We're really strongly linked to Sancho. We're still linked to Sancho. We're linked to Jules Kounde. We're linked to Grealish. And Ole never got any of his first choice targets. Ole, other than Bruno Fernandes and Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, Ole's never got anyone he's wanted. Ole wanted Upamecano, Ole wanted Haaland, Ole wanted Grealish, Ole wanted Sancho. He didn't get any of them. Whereas I think if Abramovich was at the club and we had a sporting director, we would have got them. Alice, is it true the Sancho deal's off? Well, the Sancho deal, I did talk about this earlier on, but if you're new, is the Athletic is saying that we're no longer interested sort of in Sancho. Let me read out what they said, actually, to be specific. Despite retaining an interest in Jadon Sancho and refusing to rule out signing him, if a right deal arises, Manchester United will bid for the player, but it has been paused. The change of the dynamic is believed to be related to the rise of Mason Greenwood, basically saying that, like, if the time is right, we might get Sancho. If the deal is right, we might get Sancho, but we have paused our interest because of the rise of Greenwood. And obviously, Amadeo Traore. But I think the Sancho deal isn't off. They are saying that strikers are more priority than right mid, but I think Sancho deal depends on the outs. I think we'll get a centre-back before anything, and I think we only get Sancho if we get rid of a big name like Martial, we get rid of a big name like Pogba. I can't see us getting a big centre-back and Sancho because we know Man United, we have a net spend of about 60 million. One Man City transfer window and we'd have a great team. That's a good point. If we were run by Sheikh Mansour or Abramovich, you could be like, well, I want Rice, I want Sancho, I want Haaland, I want Kounde. You could say that, but with Manchester United, we need at least 3 players to take us to the next level. I think a CDM, another winger, and a centre back, but we can only rely on us signing one. And I think we will sign at least one key player in the summer, but you can't rely on us going for free. United will go for Calvert-Lewin if they want to sign a striker. I could see us going for Calvert-Lewin, but again, I think he'd cost. I think if we sold Martial, we might go for him, but it depends how much we get for Martial if Pogba goes and all of that. What's your opinion on De Gea and Henderson situations? Pundits blaming De Gea for mistakes. I did talk about this about 5-10 minutes ago, and I don't blame De Gea. I don't think Henderson would make a difference. I rate both keepers. I don't really care who plays, but De Gea's made mistakes in the past, but I don't think there's a game where I felt like De Gea cost us the 3 points. The Everton game, for me, it was the centre-backs that cost us the 3 points. Ole only sees Van der Beek as a 10, though. Yeah, I don't get why he does play him as a 10 a lot. He has played him as a 6 and an 8, and for me, when he's played as a 6 and an 8, he's been a lot better as a 10. Haaland not going to United, he's staying at Dortmund. I think he'll stay at Dortmund. I think Dortmund will sell Sancho this summer, and when Haaland's release clause comes into play next summer, they'll sell him. Chelsea brought a whole team last summer, and there's below United, which is quite funny. Like, we had an awful summer transfer window. Let's not forget how bad our summer transfer window was. Because who in that summer transfer window has actually really come into the squad and made an impact? Cavani. And did any of us want Cavani? No. Was Cavani a last-minute deadline day signing from the board because they effed up Sancho? Yes, we need a right winger more than a centre-back. I disagree with that. If Eric Bailly could stay fit throughout the whole season, then I'd say right winger, but he can't. And I also think we need a CDM. I think we need a CDM, a right winger and a centre-back, but for me, I think centre-back before anything, because I just cannot watch Lindelof and Maguire, because when Lindelof and Maguire play together, it's not that they're just bad, it's just we play more boring because we have to sit deeper and we create less. And for me, I love to see attacking football. When will the transfer window be open? I assume July, but I'm not 100% sure. Greenwood overrated. Greenwood got 17 goals last season as an 18-year-old. Yeah, he hasn't been as good this season, but he's looked good on the ball. I wouldn't say Greenwood's overrated yet. I think it's too early to say that. I think, 17 goals. He scored 20 goals for Manchester United already. I think Greenwood's the most promising out for attackers. I just think he needs some confidence for him. He's had a bad start to the year. I think Greenwood has a higher threshold than Rashford, actually. De Gea gets blamed too much. I absolutely agree. Both keepers have different strengths, but Henderson's not better than De Gea. I agree with that as well. I do like Henderson's kicking. I think Henderson's better on the ball, but I think De Gea's got better reflexes and stuff. Centre-back and CDM is priority at the moment. I do agree. But yeah, thoughts on Shola Shortall getting his debut, even though it lasted 6-7 minutes. I was really surprised that he came on, but I'm glad he came on and stuff. If you've just joined the stream, I've sort of talked about the Rice, Haaland, sort of Sancho news, by the way, so I'm just sort of replying to your comments and giving my thoughts. But if you're still here, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. And let me know your thoughts on streams. Do you want me to do more streams when it comes to transfer news? Because I can talk about the transfer news, I can talk about my opinion, but I can also read out your opinion and stuff. Short-time man of the match yesterday, yeah. Short-time man of the match. What about Donny van der Beek? What do you think? Just sort of spoke about this. I like Donny. I think with the injuries to McTominay and Pogba, you've got to play Donny in that midfield behind Bruno. Don't play Donny for Bruno. I think play Donny and Bruno together. I think it would work. I'd sell Lindelof. I'd keep Lindelof around because of the injuries in our defence, and I think individually Lindelof's a good player. I just never play Lindelof and Maguire as a partnership. I'd rather Lindelof and Tuanzebe play than Lindelof and Maguire, because Lindelof and Tuanzebe actually played against PSG, and they actually were really good against Mbappe and Neymar. And Tuanzebe is really fast. Like, I think he's faster than Bailly. Let me have a look. Do you think Diallo and Shortile should start on Thursday? We're 4-0 up against Real Sociedad, so I do think that one of them has to start, absolutely. 4-0 up. I don't know. I'm going to do my 5 things to expect video tomorrow, and I will talk about my predicted line, I think, then. But I think you have to start one of the youngsters. You've got to give her. I think maybe Rashford. He's played a lot lately. Do Martial, Greenwood, Ahmad. I think that could be the front three. I think that's what I do. I think Rashford's played every game this season. I know he was really good, but I think Rashford needs a rest. And say if they went 2-0 up, you can bring Rashford on. And I think Bailly will play in defence with Maguire, because obviously Lindelof played the other day. I think Bailly will play in defence, so I don't think we'll concede 4 goals. I don't get why Ole is hard-headed and plays Lingard. I'm sick of it. They are both slow and can't. Yeah, I agree. If Bailly's fit, I don't know why he plays Lindelof, especially against a low-block team. Because why I was annoyed that he played Lindelof against Newcastle is because Newcastle are a low-block team, and when we play Lindelof and Maguire, the midfield sit a lot deeper. Whereas when we play Bailly, because we know Bailly's got pace, the midfield are higher up the pitch. So when we were trying to play out from the back and Newcastle were pressing us, because everyone was so deep and Fred, Matic, Maguire and Lindelof don't have the passing ability to play out the back, I think we kind of got screwed. Whereas I think if Bailly had played, we'd been a lot better versus Newcastle, because we'd be higher up the pitch. It'd be easier to play out from the back and easier to break the press. Rice, Lingard swap can be massive. I agree. I think there wouldn't be a straight swap for Rice or Lingard, as I said earlier, but I think that you get 20-30 million off Declan Rice if you use Lingard. That's assuming Lingard continues his form. If Lingard just starts playing crap, it's not going to happen realistically. But if Lingard plays well, he wants to leave. West Ham want him. Surely with Matic probably going to leave in the summer, we would go for Declan Rice. I almost read that comment out, Stephen. Nice one. I hope Ole play Eric on Sunday against Chelsea. Me too. Eric Bailly would be massive against Chelsea. I know Timo Werner can't seem to score, but I think Eric Bailly will play on Thursday, which means Lindelof on Sunday, and he likes to play Lindelof against the top 6. And with Chelsea dominating possession, I could see Chelsea being a 0-0 if Lindelof plays. I hope he plays Eric Bailly, but you just don't know. I'd probably sell Martial, Lindelof, Bailly, and a midfielder. We buy CDM. I think if Martial wants to win, isn't fine form, I'd sell him. I think ideally, if we got 2 centre-backs in, I'd sell Lindelof. But I think keep Lindelof around for squad depth, but never play Lindelof and Maguire. Let's have a look. We have a chance in Europa, a lot of decent teams in. Actually, yeah, before I end the stream, because I've already discussed the transfer news, we beat Sociedad 4-0 in the Europa League, which is brilliant. And I always thought they were the hardest competition we'll get. Like, maybe Arsenal are the only team I think could knock us out. And Arsenal are crap. Arsenal are Banter FC, by the way. But they're the only team I think that could maybe knock us out just because Arteta tactics. I 100% need a green screen. I know I need a green screen, but I'm new to streaming. I need a mic, I need a green screen. I need to learn how to work the software. I only just figured out how to put comments on. But if you guys like streaming, I will do a lot more of it. I will get into it. Have you ever thought about collaborating with Goldbridge and the United Stand? That'd be epic. If they asked me on, I wouldn't say no. I do watch the channel a bit. Maguire will probably play on Thursday, but we should be worried because he plays like every game. Maguire plays every game, every minute, plays through injuries. Like, the good thing about Maguire is he doesn't get injured, but he does play every game, and Ollie won't drop him. But I think Maguire will definitely play Thursday, because maybe Maguire and Tuanzebe and say we play Bailly against Chelsea, because we did play Bailly against Chelsea when we beat them 2-0 at the Bridge last time, didn't we? We actually were quite good in that game, and that was the game that basically got us top 4. If we didn't win that game, we would have probably been in the Europa League. Rice Lingard would be surprisingly good business. It would be good business, but I think you could save 40 million in Lingard, and I think you could get Rice. Will you marry me? No, I won't. Very sorry about that. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed the stream talking about Manchester United transfer news and answering some of your questions. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you want me to do more streams? Maybe do like a weekly stream or 2 streams a week where I talk about news, talk about what's going on, get your guys' opinions on it, and then do a little bit of a Q&A at the end answering your questions. If you haven't already, slap that like button, subscribe down below, share this video with your friends, And yeah, just let me know your thoughts on this, and feel free to give me some constructive criticism on the stream. I don't know what my camera quality is like. I don't know what my microphone quality is like. I'm just all new to this. So if you have any constructive criticism, let me know. I should probably tie my hair back as well because it keeps getting in my face. But I might do a live stream tomorrow for my match preview. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching the stream, guys. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.